Should the Blackhawks be aggressive and offer-sheet a restricted free agent? That is among the myriad questions we will answer today on CHGO Blackhawks. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast on this steamy Chicago Tuesday. I am damp. I'm not a fan of this.
It is warm.
It's warm.
It is warm. I am wearing a hoodie, but it's a short sleeve hoodie.
That is
one of the cool.
That is a walking
things
contradiction. It does look cozy though. I must admit.
It's like a nice light cotton. Yeah. I like
nice.
to give the perception of the chill hoodie, but also be able to be. Yeah, I'm just a super chill guy.
I'm also in the mode of like, am I too old to wear shorts? My column.
What?
Yeah, I think I'm too old to wear shorts.
Is there an age limit?
No, there's not.
I wore shorts the other day and immediately regretted it.
Very, very old men, much older than you, Jay, if you can imagine.
All right.
Wear shorts.
I'll work that out in therapy on Thursday.
It's just you only have you just have to pair them with some white New Balances.
Oh yes, or the Monarchs, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everybody for being here. We know this is why you tuned in, to hear about my old legs. But do us a favor and hit that like button for us. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you. We love you too. Make sure you're following or subscribed on your favorite podcast app. And make sure you are leaving us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Before we begin the show, we want to remind everybody about our massive sale going on at the CHGO/AllCity store, store.allcitynetwork.com. 30% off pretty much everything, up to 75% off.
Just
sale items.
Myriad options out there.
Myriad options exist for you as a shopper. So pick those up. I got my Notre Dame, am I allowed to say the team name? The South Bend football team shirt that we produced. I very much like this one. That's there.
The shirt reflecting Irish heritage.
Yes. Not St. Mary's College, the other one.
Yeah.
Tons of Hawks designs, Bears, Bulls, Sox, Sky. Sky stuff especially is just
good
choice.
Stuff.
I love the Sky stuff.
That sky blue coloring. Good stuff.
And speaking of the Sky, check out our producer, Katie, who runs the Sky show and does a wonderful job. Lots of Sky content over the last few days.
Awesome stuff. Sky are going to be very interesting to watch this year. You got Angel Reese.
Yes.
Courtney Vandersloot, right?
Yes.
She's a big major player on the team. Major player. And the draft pick, that was Angel Reese's teammate, right?
Haley Van Lith?
Yes. Her. She's going to be a top player as well. So they're going to be fun to watch.
I'm in.
There are a couple games at the United Center this year.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
All right.
That'll be cool.
Fun times.
Speaking of the United Center, renovations coming to the suite level.
You know what's great about that? We had our suite takeover last season, and all I thought when I was on the upper level of the suites was,
it feels like 1994.
Old. I very much feel like I am in the mid-90s. Even they have photos of all the historic, like it's the Bulls championships and the Hawks non-championships in the 90s, like Alexei Zhamnov photos and Jocelyn Thibault. They're all little
Chris
faded.
Chelios wearing the black jersey. Like, the most 90s thing you could see for a Blackhawks pitcher.
It's very much time for an update. The renderings look very cool. So check that out if you've not seen it. Because, especially the upper level suites are due for they're due for an upgrade.
Yeah.
Once you're in there, the experience is wonderful.
It's nice. You're up in a suite. You get a little food service and everything.
The food's great.
It's really cool. But what's nice is the United Center is going to go through, some upgrades. Some of them very necessary. They got the 1901 project going on and everything as well. That's going to revamp that whole area. I like seeing that rather than someone saying, you know what? Scrap it. I want a whole new arena, a whole new venue, in a whole new location. Like you have a really good setup, a really historical venue that's been there for 30 plus years. You give it a little, a facelift here or there, and you keep it going for a long time, keep it fresh. So that'll be cool. And that's gonna, as soon as the season starts, that's supposed to be up and running up there in the suite level for Hawks and Bulls games. And all the other events at the UC.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different levels up there. The banner lofts are 6-person semi-private spaces. Banner seats are oversized leather seats at center court and center ice.
They hang you over the ice. You're up there with the banner.
with in-seat food delivery. The banner lounge is near the championship banners. The icon suites are 15 to 30 guests. Banner suites 12 to 20. Super suites 40 to 80. So different sizes, different spaces. It is time to modernize, but I am glad that they're not asking for a whole new stadium. The United Center remains one of the nicest buildings in the NHL and NBA, I assume. It doesn't feel old. It doesn't operate like it's old, except those outside LEDs that need to be fixed, Blackhawks.
Yeah, those need to be fixed.
But other than that, the building's great.
It's really held up, but there are a lot of 90s remnants still. The suite level is one.
Press box.
The press box is another. And
we've gotten fatter since the 90s. We need more room up there.
And the lack of cup holders.
Yeah, cup holders, again, that's one thing that I was disappointed to see in the renderings of the suites. Not a single cup holder. Even the suite level can't get cup holders. Come on now.
Yeah.
But the floors.
If you're in a suite, you just hire someone to hold your cup.
It's true, yeah. The floors, when you walk in to the basement, are the same that Michael Jordan walked on.
Don't change them.
That's kind of cool. But they are definitely original.
Yes. Hey, looks good though. The changes look good, and
Cool
but it is good. They certainly don't need a new arena.
No.
For the record, neither do the White Sox
or the Bears.
Actually,
no.
The Bears do, because that field has sucked since day one.
Well, they shouldn't have screwed it up 20 years ago.
Sounds like a different show. Carm?
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Are we doing the Bears show today?
No.
We should do the Bulls show. I'm so mad. They didn't win the pick. I'm mad. And I told you all. I'm Matt Peck. I told you all.
He's right.
You
stuck in the middle forever. Congratulations.
You should tank and sell the team.
That was a great impression. That's exactly what he said last night.
That's your CHGO Bulls show. Tune in next time. I'm Matt Peck, and that's Big Dave.
Yep.
I'll tell Matt not to come in today. That's perfect.
All right. Enough tomfoolery.
All right.
We are having myriad goof around sessions. We need to get serious on this show. Let's rip open the mailbag and continue from an overstuffed mailbag Monday. First question comes from Justin, who says, what restricted free agent players would make candidates for Chicago to find their own Philip Broberg, and Dylan Holloway? I like Nick Robertson from Toronto. Toronto is a very popular target to go purging RFAs from.
Yeah, they want Toronto seems to be the team that everyone wants to pick from because they are the most, I would say, ripe for cap complications.
Yeah,
with Mitch Marner being on an expiring deal, with Matthew Knies being on an expiring deal. It doesn't seem like both of them can stick around for the money that they would be garnering. So I think Toronto is a team that you could try and see like what they ended up doing. You can force their hand, I think, too, with this Matthew Knies situation. We got new offer sheet compensation benchmarks, but the Knies situation is interesting because you could force Toronto to have to choose. You'd have to say, like, do you want to lose?
What happened?
Oh, there was just a big bird back there. It
like,
caught my eye. I was hopeful it wasn't like a rat or something going across our set. No, it was just a bird outside. But you could force their hand in saying, like, we're offer sheeting Matthew Knies at a high level, and you either can match it and spend the money you thought you would have for Mitch Marner, or you let your young guy walk if you're trying to keep Marner around.
It is exactly what happened to the Blackhawks with Nicholas Hjalmarsson and Antti Niemi.
Yeah.
Is the Sharks offer sheeted Hjalmarsson. The Hawks matched it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had to let Niemi walk, so the Sharks got Niemi.
Yeah.
It's conniving, but it's smart business. So here's the compensation. This was released today. Elliot Friedman's the one who sent it out, but it's available widely. I would imagine Matthew Knies, if you're going to offer sheet him, is going to fall between so there's two ranges.
Previously, it was the 6.8 to 9.1.
Yeah.
Now it's like 7.1 to 9.3 or something like that.
So if you ever run cap wages, they actually have an estimator for next contract.
Mm-hmm.
They have two guesses for Knies. 7 times 7.22 or 2 times 4.2.
Ooh,
so they're doing a bridge deal or a long-term deal. So let's just play along. We're going to do the higher offer. So if the Hawks were to sign him for $7 million or make an offer sheet, $7,222,000, that would be a first, second, and third round pick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down. And it would be next year's first.
Has to be your own. And yeah, it's not 2025, it's 2026.
2026.
Yeah,
so
which they have.
They have it. If you get Matthew Knies and you have a little more success free agent wise or developmental wise, whatever it might be, you're going to be less likely to pick in the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
You'll probably still be a lottery team regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But Matthew Knies is a guy who, to me, feels like a sure thing. If you've been watching the Leafs-Panthers series, he is on the ice in every important situation they've got. They rely on him. They totally trust him. That's the kind of guy I'm willing to give that kind of an offer sheet to.
Yeah. My gut feeling is that they would match because he's the guy that replaces Mitch Marner. And he's the guy that has the longer longevity.
Yeah.
Than you would say Marner would, in theory. And he's going to cost you less. So my feeling is that if you put in the offer sheet on Knies, you're forcing them to match it, and then that almost, I don't want to say guarantees, but I think that pushes Mitch Marner to free agency, because I don't know if the Leafs will be able to do all the business they need to while keeping both of those guys. I know the cap is going up, but it's a lot of money for both of those players. I know Tavares is probably unlikely to come back, and if he does, it's not at $11 million.
Big pay cut, right?
But it still seems like they have a lot of business to take care of with not enough money to do it. So, I mean, again, as you said yesterday, like, I want Kyle Davidson to be as aggressive as possible this offseason to make sure that he's getting the players and the coach that are going to push this team to the next level next season. And I'm not saying like push all your chips into the middle, all in. This team's going to have to be a cup contender or bust next year. No, like, you have to make those steps that you didn't make this past season, and be able to continue the progression of the rebuild process. You can't just be at the bottom of the league the entire time, compile these young players, and then throw it all out there and say, "Oh, now go be a." It has to be incremental steps. This team next year, I want to be in the position that, or at least very close to the position that like the Ducks were in or Utah was in, where it was like, you were playing competitive games to the trade deadline. You were close to a realistic postseason chase, and you had a lot of young players playing important roles. I can see the Blackhawks doing that if they are aggressive and they nail down either the big fish free agent in Mitch Marner, and then you put pieces together below that, or you're piecing together those holes in the lineup of top 6 forward, impact veteran defenseman. You add that to the group. Like, the coach is of course one of the biggest things that they need to nail as well, but you hit those 3 things, and I think you have the makings of a team that is going to go through growing pains, but can be more exciting, faster, and that can lead to more wins.
Yeah, that's the hope. And it's, the only thing is there's nothing to lose. If Toronto does match, Okay, then maybe it gets Marner to free agency. You still might not get Marner, but you might get Matthew Knies.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. There's no penalty for offer sheeting. Like if you lose the offer sheet, you don't lose a pick or something. They just Toronto says nope, we're going to keep him. Thank you.
Yeah,
and they do it, and then you move on to the next thing. I don't think there's any damage in trying to do that. And some people saying they'd rather hang on to that draft pick because you get the chance of Gavin McKenna. Maybe you might get the chance of Gavin McKenna, but you feel like you're going to get someone good at 3 this year. That's going to be a very solid, probably immediately your top prospect, definitely your top forward prospect, assuming it's a forward, which is a safe assumption. At some point, you got to move this thing forward. Like it can't just be holding out for the next generational draft pick because chances are you're not going to win that. So we'll see. It's going to be a very exciting summer, and let's just get it going now. Back in a moment on CHGO Blackhawks. Hit that like button for us if you've not already. And want to remind you about our friends at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. They're your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. So whether you're an old veteran cannabis shopper or kind of new on the cannabis scene, you're not really sure what you want, Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. They've got great brands. They're your one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has an expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. They've got locations in the city like Wrigleyville and River North and the Burbs, Champaign, South Beloit, and more. If you're a pro, they've got you covered with over 100 strains and new ones added every day. They know you'll love Cresco and FloraCal's incredible quality and consistent products. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Again, enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois MedCard holders.
And if you've ever tried to buy a home, get a loan, or just deal with money stuff in general, you know that it can be a lot. That is why we want to tell you about our friends who run the Rate app. It's a serious game changer. You can get pre-approved for a mortgage in minutes without the need to jump through a million hoops. And if you're thinking about a home equity loan or a personal loan, you can secure one in under 15 days. That would have come in handy when I was going through the home buying process. Yes. I wish I had had the Rate app, but you can have it as you go through those processes. And if you're also looking for homeowners and auto insurance, the Rate app can help you find exactly what you are looking for based on what you actually need. The whole thing is powered by AI, so it is smart and saves you time and money. And we all know that going for a loan, getting a house, getting a mortgage set up, everything like that, that can be super stressful. So the cool thing about the Rate app is that not only is it going to help you with all those things, it's going to help you with the stress of those processes. They have over 800 free wellness videos, things like meditation, breathing exercises, stretching, basically everything that can help you de-stress and feel better mentally and physically in those situations. So it's the app that can help you both in your wallet and your well-being. Yes. Download it today, the Rate app, to get started.
Do that. That's fun. Some people asking when you could make offer sheets. You can start talking to RFAs on the night of June 30th, but nothing can be signed until free agency begins at 12:01 p.m. Eastern on July 1st. That's 11:01 Central.
Yes, those first phone calls can only happen the evening
strictly
before free agency.
I just think it's great that they have press releases written for every unrestricted free agent player.
Well, I just can't believe these deals get done like that.
It's amazing.
It's just like,
it's amazing.
Hello, yes. Oh, I'll sign that deal. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, that's exactly how it goes. Yes. The phones just ring off the hook for 12 hours straight, and that's all that gets done.
Yep.
No other conversations are ever held before July 1st.
That's not allowed.
Yeah.
You stupid when you do that. Against the rules. All right, next in the mailbag, Katie.
Got a leftover one here.
Caleb's Crusade.
Trading up
What
with
is a
the
realistic
Sharks
trade package
or
to the
Islanders.
Sharks or Islanders for trading up to 2 or 1?
Well, we kind of touched on this a little bit yesterday, but I think, if you're, it's obviously a pick swap. So you're trading number 3. You're probably also getting rid of the Toronto pick at the end of this year's first round. And then you're probably giving up one more thing, and it could be, it could be another future asset. It could be, there's not really any roster players that you'd look at and say those teams would be interested as like immediate impacts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another prospect, and I think that to get that done, you have to be sold that whoever you're moving up for is worth that. And I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem absolutely necessary to move up. I think there's a ton of ways that this draft could shape out in the top 3. You could have the Islanders make the quote unquote off the board pick of James Higgins, who's from Long Island and grew up an Islanders fan, is an Islanders fan, wants to be an Islander, and is the number 3 prospect in the draft class. You could have them go that way. You could have, and if that were to play out, you'd think the Sharks would then say, wow, we got the defenseman that we lack in our prospect system with Matthew Schaefer at number 2, and then the Blackhawks have their pick of Michael Misa or Anton Frondel or Porter Martone or whoever it is at number 3. And even if you don't have the shot at Misa, who I think a lot of people are putting at number 2 in this draft class, and Schaefer's off the board either way with the Islanders or Sharks, you still have impact forwards at your disposal with tons of different play styles. And I don't think giving up that much to move up 1 or 2 is going to be worth it unless they are absolutely like, we believe, let's say Michael Misa is worth the number 1 pick. We need to go and get him, and we'll give up our other first round pick plus.
Yeah, I don't hate the idea of doing that, but maybe not in this draft.
Right.
I just don't feel like that dude is there. And like you said, the difference between Misa and Martone or Frondel or whoever it might be is not so vast that it's like it's this guy or bust.
Right.
So I don't know how much I'd be willing to do that. But if they're sold on a guy, they've certainly got the pieces necessary to do it. It's pretty rare that you have a trade up like that short in the NHL. I'm trying to find a history, and I'm struggling with it right now on the Google machine.
Well, I mean, you went through some of those star players being traded for draft picks, and it was like, there were top 10 picks being moved, but it wasn't, I don't think there were many in the top 3 being moved. I think it's pretty rare to see that going on in the modern day of the NHL.
Yeah, weren't they basically all by the Islanders too?
Some of them were, yeah. So I mean, I don't, again, like I do want Kyle Davidson to be aggressive. I do want him to, make the move that they feel is completely worth it. I'm not certain that moving up to get the 1 or the 2 is that worth it with the draft class at the top of it being what it is. You're not talking about move from 3 to 1 and move, 3 or 4 future assets because it's Bedard or it's Celebrini.
Yeah.
Like I think you're going to get a player, if you stay pat at 3, you're going to get a player that's an impact guy and might be not plug and play next season in the NHL, but you give them another year and then they're in that conversation.
Well, Gravely says the Sharks really wanted Korchinski in 2022, but I think if you're trying to trade up, you're trying to get 1, because the assumption seems to be the Sharks are taking Schaefer if he's there.
Right.
So what you're trying to do is you're theoretically, based on what I think the question is about, is the Hawks are trying to prevent the Islanders from taking Misa with 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're worried about the Sharks taking Misa. They might, but it really feels like when you look at what the Sharks have and what they need, that stud number one defenseman is their biggest need. Sam Dickinson is on the way, expected to be very good. Not sure if he's a Matthew Schaefer level prospect. So that was, because I don't think trading up to 2 necessarily solves your problem, because I think you're still a little bit worried about, well, you still have the issue of New York taking Misa,
right?
And then you did it for what?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And I think too, like, I can't remember who exactly said it. Might have been when Chris Peters was on the show with you and Greg. But Schaefer, as you know, most people have him as the top prospect in the draft class, would be on last year's level of like where Levshinov was. And I don't know. In that context, it doesn't feel like the value of moving out of that 3 spot for someone who, you know, in comparatively could have been like someone that would have dropped or anything like that. Like, I don't know. I just think that unless it's to get to, I feel like moving to 2 makes no difference. Because if you don't get to 1, and it's not to get Michael Misa, who I think by and large people say is the second best player in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any way the Sharks don't take Matthew Schaefer if he's on the board. So I feel like you have to get to 1 if you're trying to make that move to make a difference. So I don't know. I think it's and again, I also, you know, I see a lot of people in the chat again being like, yeah, it's Korchinski that would be in the trade, as Gravely said. Like, they wanted Korchinski. Well, they could get Matthew Schaefer. And I also don't want to just continue to be like, yeah, well, Korchinski's disposable. Like, he's about to turn 21.
He's not a throw-in, right?
He's still has an argument to be the best defensive prospect in this Blackhawks system right now. But, you know, in the mix of Levshinov and Rizal and Korchinski, like, they're still all in that area. So I don't want to just throw my hands up and be like, yep, done with him. Like, there's no reason to do that without
foolish.
it being something that is going to actually make a tangible change to the prospect system. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Having the Islanders win the draft really made things interesting. If it had been chalk or
it's a wild, they are always a wild card.
Yeah.
Always.
And they don't have a GM right now.
That's right.
So you don't even know, like, who's going to be running the show at that time. So we'll see.
Did you see, by the way, it looks like the Kings are going to bring in Ken Holland to be their GM. That seems to be the hot rumor.
Cool.
Recycled.
Cool. That's good.
But remember those Red Wings teams when there was no salary cap?
Absolutely.
Ooh, they were good. They were good.
That's good GMing.
Yep. When you could just sign everyone.
Yeah.
And there was no consequence to it. And they all just got their buddies together and built an all-star team. And you just had to be the guy to say, hey, Brendan Shanahan and Brett Hull, want to come and play here for a lot of money with a great team? Awesome. Look how smart I am. Look how great of a general manager I am. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. You're never out. The NHL. That's how it works. Just recycle, recycle, recycle. All right. Time to hit the break zone. One more time. Do us a favor. Please hit that like button for us. And other side of the break, we got something a little bit exciting to tell you about. So stick around. We'll be right back on CHGO Blackhawks. And just like your favorite team needs a home ice advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. You might wake up and eat your Wheaties and drink your milk and have your Flintstone vitamins like a good Hulkamaniac. They just chew on floor samples. That's it. They brush their teeth with carpet samples.
Pretty sure
they live and breathe flooring.
Pretty
at
sure
Empire
King Kong
Today.
Bundy did that too.
Yes, that's it. They know floors better than that schlub at the big box store who is actually a toilet plunger expert, but Bob is sick in flooring, so he's filling in flooring and doesn't know what he's doing. No. Hire the experts. Hire Empire Today. They are your best bet for a new floor. They bring the showroom right to you. You'll be able to see how the new floors look with your furniture in your house with your children running around. It's great. You get precise measurements taken, and have all your questions answered so there are no surprises. With Empire today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day, because who wants to wait? Schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners, you'll receive a $350 discount when using the promo code CHGO. That's right, a $350 discount with the code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details.
And whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. The best around, I've been told. You can bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season, whether it's spreads, props, futures, or in-game. Circa Sports has it. You can fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Are there future bets for who the Bulls will take at number 12? If there are, you can find them at Circa Sports Illinois, and you can wager on whoever they might take. I don't know who it is, but you can do that. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. You must be 21 or older, and if you have a gambling problem or someone you know has one, you can call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And now it is time for Taking the Temp, presented by your trusted local experts at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. We're taking the temp. How about red hot for Frank Nazar and Lucas Reichel at the World Championships, each of them with 4 points in 3 games. They are kicking butt for the U.S. and Germany, respectively. And how about old Blackhawks legend, too, Dominic Cahoon, with 5 points in 3 games for Germany.
Yeah, Andreas Martinsen had a goal today, too, for
another
Norway.
Blackhawks legend.
Remember when, Blackhawks.
There you go. Red hot. That's the temperature, and it's presented by our friends at Four Seasons. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. Now, if you didn't know this, by the way, it's coming up June 6th is our CHGO golf outing. It's going to be an awesome time.
Cookout Classic.
The Cookout Classic.
Classic Cookout.
And you can sign up right now to golf with me and Mario.
Hey.
We are for sale. We are a tandem. So head over to allchgo.com, click over to that events tab for all the information on the Cookout Classic. That is June 6th. At the Village Links of Glen Ellen. It's an 8 a.m. shotgun start.
Early.
If you and a friend want to golf with me and Mario, get ready to find our golf balls. That's half the round when you play with me. It's over to the left. Help me find it.
Yep.
It'll be a good time. The CHGO golf outings are a great time, and if you've been looking for an incentive to do it, you get to play with me and Mario. So do that. Sign up today, allchgo.com/events. If you're a diehard, of course, your ticket will be less expensive.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait. I love our golf outings because not only is it golf, it's good food, good times. You never know who's going to show up. Might be some special guests. Might be some surprise faces.
Yeah.
It's always a lot of fun. And I just bought a new golf hat yesterday, so gonna have a new one for the upcoming golf season. So you might be able to see it on June 6th if you sign up and be a part of our golf outing, golf with me and Jay. We won't be gunning for the first place prize, but we're definitely in the running for the last place prize. So if you want to get in on that last place prize, we're your guys.
A prize is a prize. Damn it.
Why not?
Yeah, it's a good time. It's come and join us. Even if you don't want to golf with me and Mario, which is understandable, you can buy a foursome, come by a solo spot. It's a great time. The whole crew is going to be out there. It is really a wonderful time. Love that event. Look forward to it every year.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we'll have the Kickoff Classic in August, so lots of good stuff there. That one's going to be star-studded. Charlie Romiliotis is going to be out there. James Naveau is going to be out there for that one. Perhaps NBC5's Casey Standahar might be out there. It's going to be a very star-studded event in August. So coming out to either of them. Pat says, can you guys actually play? Mario can actually play. I cannot. I suck.
Anyone can golf.
I mean, by definition, I'm golfing.
Yeah.
But it's a scramble.
You got clubs and everything.
Yeah. 4 dozen balls just in case.
That's, I mean, yeah. That's a good number. Yeah. 48 divided by 18 is what, 3?
Yeah, it's about right.
2 and change, 3 and change. Yeah, that's enough.
Nah, it's a good time. All you need is that one good shot to keep coming back.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what I've learned. They seem to happen late for me, too.
That par putt on the 18th hole that you're like, yes,
yep,
coming back next week.
That's about all I can do. I can putt a little bit.
That's good.
That's about it.
Yeah, I mean,
it just takes me 8 shots to get to the green.
Every group, that's the beauty of a scramble. Every group can have someone who's really good at one thing as long as it's, different aspects. Like if you have someone who's a power off the tee that cuts every hole in half or better, then if you have a guy in your group or, someone in your group that can, play well with the irons in between driving and putting, you got that locked in. And then if you have someone who can putt, there you go. And then you got one person who can just, pay for the bev cart and the vibes.
Yeah.
That's all you need for a scramble.
You know what I need to recall? I need to retract what I said. I'm not good at putting. I'm less bad at putting. It is the thing I am the least bad at.
All right. Well, there you go.
There you go. Fair enough. All right. Let's get some more questions in here before we run out of time. But hit that like button for us. We're under 100. Come on. Let's go. I miss Doc Emmerich. Says, do you think it would be smart to trade Soderblom this offseason?
Didn't get their full at.
And if so,
whoops.
What kind of return do you think would be worth it? I think if you're trading Soderblom, you're not getting a ton for him.
No.
You're opening up a roster spot probably.
And it's RFA rights at this point. I feel like it's smart to bring him back even with the situation that they're in, where you have Spencer Knight, you have Laurent Brossoit still on the books, Drew Comezzo as well. You still want to have as many guys that you can say have a shake at the NHL as possible, because none of them are breaking the bank or anything like that. I think Soderblom had a bounce back season that not a lot of people were expecting. Played really well in different stretches of the season, and for a guy that we had written off, it was just like he's just going to be in Rockford, and based on everything that the prior resume, it was just like, well, he'll be in Rockford, and then you probably let him walk. He played really well. I think there's nothing to say that you just continue. You go down that path of just letting him walk. I think it's good to have competition at every position going into camp, and if you have 4 guys that can, lay a claim to NHL time in net, that's a better scenario to be in. So I'd keep him around, because trading him, what are you going to get? A 3rd round pick at best?
How many of those do you need?
Yeah, especially
and what are the chances they turn into a player as good as Arvid Soderblom?
Right. Yeah. So I think you keep him around, because I mean Drew Comezzo played really well in the back third of this season and into the postseason for the Ice Hogs. He's a guy that's trending in the right direction. Spencer Knight is still young. He's still got things to figure out at the NHL level, but he's trending in the right direction. If you have Soderblom's 25? No, 24, I think.
Yeah,
he's still pretty young too. So the more the merrier when
25.
When it comes to goalies. 25. Okay.
He'll be 26 in August.
Okay, so it's still young. Corey Crawford wasn't full time in the NHL until he was 26, and even then, he had to go through some growing pains at the NHL level. So I think bring him back. I would have traded the time I would have traded him was when he was super hot, about November, I think that was, and that was when Carolina and Colorado were like, uh-oh, our goalies are hurt.
Yeah,
that's when I would have moved him. But I think now you keep him.
Somebody made a comment about how bad the goaltending crop is in free agency, and Jake Ottinger's your biggest name. He's an RFA. There's no way Dallas is letting him go.
Not a chance.
Cal Peterson, Robin Leonard, Ville Husso, Jake Allen, Vitek Vanacek, Alexander Georgiev, Anton Forsberg, Dan Vladar, Ilya Samsonov, Devin Levi, Daniil Tarasov, James Reimer. Like, there's not a lot.
Not a single person that I would take off of free agency and say, yep, bring them in.
Caden Primo, Alex Lyon.
No. I'd stick with the guys you have.
I'm wondering if the lack of the lack of availability for solid free agents. I just wonder though if we have a little bit of proximity bias with Soderblom, where I don't think the league looks at him as maybe as highly as we do. And even saying that, I think we're saying he's a really good backup, like an above average backup.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if the league thinks less of him than that, you're not going to get much for him.
Yeah. I would say outsider perspective looks at, a sub 900 save percentage, an over a well over 3 goals against average in his body work in the NHL. You're not going to say, oh, that guy was really good. But considering he went from a 979 and a 392 last year to a 989 and a 318 this year on those Blackhawks teams, and his goals saved above expected went from minus 23 to minus 2. That's a marketed improvement.
A big difference, yes.
So,
by the way, Ottinger, thank you, Michael, did re-up. I forgot about that. $8.25 million. So Ottinger's not a free agent.
Okay, yeah.
So
that one.
And AKZ says Jake Allen isn't bad. He's not bad, but he's 35.
Yeah.
So the market for Jake Allen isn't going to be huge.
That's I would keep him. I think it's worth it to have him because if you go into camp and you have Drew Comezzo, looks like okay, you know what, he finished the season really strong, but Rockford's the best option for him for another year or half year or whatever. You have Spencer Knight, who he played really well, but again, it was really well on a Blackhawks team that was still giving up a ton of shots and very young defensively. So his numbers don't reflect the times that he kept them alive in games. But again, that's a guy that's had to change his surroundings and go through that. It's a lot different playing behind Florida than it is playing behind Chicago. So there's still growing pains there. And then who knows what Laurent Brossoit is. And if he comes into training camp and the preseason and it looks like the injury, took a little bit away from him, having Soderblom as we're going to go with him again in the NHL next year. You'd rather have that than put a guy in a situation where, we got rid of a guy and now we have to play Comezzo in the NHL even though he's kind of not ready, or we have to play Brossoit even though he's kind of not the same guy. I'd rather have Soderblom in that scenario.
This is a very, the worst case scenario is you've got a really good backup.
Right. Yeah.
And then if things work out where Comezzo and Brossoit can't be denied, then you've got a trade piece or organizational depth, which is great. There's no need to punt on Soderblom right now. Yeah. There's too many. Comezzo and Brossoit are too big of question marks right now to just walk away from him.
Right.
Because I don't think you want Comezzo in a backup role where he's playing every third game, every fourth game. Knight is going to be your workhorse. You didn't trade Seth Jones for him just to have him be here for. He's not going to be your Kyle Tucker here for 1 year plus and then walk.
Right. Yeah.
So, all right, let's keep moving on. We are very close to 100 likes, by the way. We got 91.
Let's keep going.
Okay, Scott, Iowa. This is a non-hockey question. It is May 13th, so that is totally fine. He says, with high school graduation season coming up soon, what advice would you give to those who are about to graduate?
I'd give you the same advice Jimmy Dugan would give.
Avoid the clap?
No. It's not easy transitioning from high school to college. Very formidable years ahead of you and now behind you. And, in a situation that I was in, I was going from a high school that was super small. Everybody knew everybody in my graduating class. Almost everybody knew almost everybody in the high school. To go into a bigger school that had, a couple thousand kids in each, class of, and get out of your comfort zone. That's one thing that I would say is because I definitely was. I had my group of friends. I grew up in, not a small town. Kenosha is the 5th largest city in Wisconsin. But had that feel of like, I know the people I know. That's my surroundings. And going to college, it was just like people from different backgrounds that I didn't have familiarity with. Yeah. People from different, a lot of people from outside the southeastern Wisconsin, northeastern Illinois area that had different experiences. And, college, you get to have a chance to kind of like write a new narrative for yourself if you want to. And it's just an opportunity for growth. So I definitely pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, meet new people, experience new things. Like that's definitely what I would push people to do outside of high school. And you know what? College isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
That's one thing too that I think some people do find, and I think is more common now, is people are just finding ways trades are
those
are
going to be
thing.
the big paying, like when all these aging mechanics retire,
right?
Like there's not going to be a lot of people to replace them. And like if you have a passion for welding or auto repair, whatever it might be, like you can make a ton of money doing that.
Yeah.
So like just follow your passion. Your point is really good. And I will say this, like actually this friend of mine from high school who I roomed with my first 2 years recently passed away. But I think in hindsight, both of us would look at the fact that we roomed together as it maybe stunting us a little bit, where we were just very comfortable just hanging out together and not really going out to explore, meet new people.
Yeah.
Where when rooming with someone is a big deal. So you want to know you're at least compatible with those people.
Right.
But don't like just sit there with your established friends. Chances are you're going to go to college with somebody you know, which is great. It's nice to have that fallback. But like Mario said, get out there, try clubs, go experience different things. You never know what you're. I feel like you find your people in college.
Yeah.
Like the friends I'm friends with now are my friends from college. I have a couple from high school, 2 or 3 from grade school, and that's it. So that, and I'll also say this, and this is one of my regrets. And when I used to teach adjunct at Lewis University, I would tell the students this, like, really, Katie went there too, really dive in on your major, because I feel like you get, when you're in college, everything feels equal because the grade point average counts the same. It's the same workload.
Right.
But I sort of wish that when I was majoring in broadcast journalism, that I had spent more time at the radio station, at the TV station, like getting my hands dirty, learning editing tricks. So, because I really feel like I was trained for the workforce in my internship and on my job.
Yes.
So it's kind of hard to separate your brain from, in 3 or 4 years, this is going to be my life. This, whatever it is that you're pursuing. So make sure that you as a student give that the attention that it deserves. Like, yes, gen eds are very important and you want to do well in those too. But if you know you want to be on TV or radio, your math class doesn't matter as much as the TV radio classes or whatever your major might be. So just make sure you focus on what you are going to do for a living. And don't be afraid to enter college undecided either.
Right.
There's so many kids like, I'm going to this and I'm studying this and I'm going to be this. Like, you're 18. There's such a huge jump in how different you are from your freshman year to your graduation year. And then from there, from like, I think like they say like one of your biggest life transitions is like age 23. I think it's in terms of like maturity jumps.
Yeah.
So be open-minded, try stuff class wise. I mean, that I was going to be a psychology major, but I knew that colleges had radio stations. I'm like, oh, I want to have a radio show. I've always wanted to do that. So I just took intro to radio, which is a prerequisite, and I just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
I had no intentions of making this my career when I entered college.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to strictly be like written journalism, and I didn't really have a big interest in going in any other route. And this was, 2007, 2008. And I got into school and they kind of were like, yeah, print is not going to be the big thing. So I was more or less like encouraged,
like his radio,
like test out. Well, audio,
yes.
So yeah. And yeah, coming out of high school, like that's a time where like you said, like you can be comfortable being undecided and not really knowing, because your freshman year of college is mostly like just basic school stuff. So you're not really diving into anything specific until usually that second year. So you have time to figure things out. As Jack says, you can take a gap year. That's totally fine. I don't understand why people look down on that. Like,
you've got your whole life to be an adult.
Yeah, exactly.
It sucks.
And yeah, I think too, it's completely different than when I was leaving high school. The nature of the world and the nature of being an 18-year-old taking that next step in your life. Take some time to just breathe.
Yeah,
I think
it.
The way that high schoolers and these just the last 5 years of being in school and how that has been affected, and how we talk about hockey players in the 2020 2021 draft classes and how they're developing and all this stuff, and we talk about like, well, they kind of like missed a year or had their development paths affected by COVID and how that kind of stuff shut down stuff and like missed seasons and all that. You zoom out to, the real world, and, a lot of kids went through some really weird times. So, and some people, process it differently, but definitely I would say to anyone that's making that kind of big transition, like definitely give yourself space to breathe. Because I know people that went balls to the wall in high school through college, and by the time they got to 25, it was just like everything that they were like working towards, like they just burned out on.
Yeah.
And it was just like they were throwing the script out and changing everything when they were, at like the 10-year high school reunion. It was just like, you're doing things completely different than you were when I last talked to you or whatever. So that's in life in general, we all need space to breathe, but especially going through like those big transition periods, like give yourself some space.
Yeah. Also, do not open the predatory credit card that will be in the hallway of your first week of college.
No.
Hey, you get a free bath towel if you open up this this credit card, and you'll be like, well, I could eat ramen again, or I could just order a pizza on this credit card, and then you leave college with like 10 grand of credit card debt because you can't make the minimum payments.
But for this entering college generation, is it credit cards or is it crypto?
Oh, I don't know.
I feel like neither. It's Afterpay. Afterpay is everywhere. Like
what is Afterpay?
Afterpay is like basically like on PayPal or even Apple Pay or whatever. You can like pay the amount in 4 payments over 6 months or whatever. So you end up just having those payments deducted. You could order pizza for $20 and it's a $5 payment.
Yeah, but then you have 100 of those, and it's
$1 million in interest. And
right.
Sounds like a credit card.
That's the new thing.
Yeah,
that's basically a credit card. Exactly.
Just stuff bags of cash under your mattress.
Yes,
you'll be fine.
All right, good question. I like the the not hockey every now and again. All right, what do we got next?
Let's get back to hockey. The important
Alberto says, "Hey guys, do you like the jailbreak rule in the PWHL, and do you think the NHL would ever adopt it?" I love it. For those who don't know,
and I don't think the NHL will ever do it.
The jailbreak rule means if you are shorthanded and you score, the penalty's over.
I thought it was the penalty shot was live.
Oh no, the jailbreak is you break them out of jail.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. The jailbreak is you're shorthanded, you score, and that eliminates the other team's power play, which I like.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yes.
I love that rule too.
But the live penalty shot's fun too.
Yeah, I love both of those rules, and I don't think either one of them would be adopted by the NHL. I still wish, that whenever we're asked like, what's one rule change you would do? Shorthanded goal ends the other team's power play. That I would implement that immediately if I was ever.
Sounds fun. I mean, it's fun.
NHL commissioner.
And don't give up a shorthanded goal.
Yeah, you have the extra person on the ice. Don't let them score.
I like that a lot.
I love that rule.
Yes. They'll never do it though.
No.
God forbid.
Or it'll be in like 15 years and it'll be like, this is a brand new rule we thought of.
Groundbreaking thing we've made. pat themselves on the back, Barry
Yeah.
Horowitz style. All right, what else we got? Kasper Rawa, I hope I said that right. Is the risk of finding a first-time head coach again and hoping he's the guy worth it than finding an all-right head coach like Jay Woodcroft? So Kasper's saying, is it better to try to take a big swing at a first-year coach and hope that you hit a home run, or do you just want to take the
Get somebody
the easy base hit and get a guy you know is going to be probably fine?
Yeah.
This was my thing with the Bears hire. And as the thing went on and Mike McCarthy was out there, I'm like, just hire him because it will only be so bad. It can only, he's not great, but he's also not a complete disaster.
It's a known commodity.
So just do that.
Yeah.
Get the known commodity. But the Bears, they were patient. They got the big name out there. Now, Ben Johnson would be David Carl. That's not really there. So it's not a perfect comp. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
there is a chance that they go with the person who is a first-time NHL head coach, but could have a ton of experience being an AHL head coach, an NHL assistant. I put a lot of credence to being around winning organizations. I look at Jeff Halpern and being an assistant with the Lightning underneath John Cooper, being part of 2 Stanley Cup champion teams on those coaching staffs, and having been with that organization for almost a decade, being around that's something that you can take from those organizations and how they ran things, how the standards that were set. And I find that to be pretty valuable, even if it is a first-time NHL head coach. But again, it comes down to finding that right balance, because you're going to have a young team. You have to be able to communicate with and get the best out of those young players, while also, if Davidson wants this to be like the guy or the person that he hires to get them not only out of the development stage but into the more contention stage, you have to be able to say, like, I can do part A, I can also do part B by learning from part A. And that's where I think, like, it kind of gets to that point where you're like, do you just go with the development person and then we're doing this all over again in 3 years?
Yeah.
Or do you get the person who can do the development and then has some sort of track record? Like with Jay Woodcroft, it's kind of like he was an assistant for a very long time, was an AHL head coach, and then became an NHL head coach for a short period of time, but had a decent amount of success coaching 2 of the best in the world. He feels like, I know a lot of people are just like, consolation prize, or ho hum. Like, he feels like he's got both column A and B experience.
The more time goes by, the more he grows on me as an option.
Yeah.
It's hard though, because the list of first timers, like, it's kind of like Jeff Halpern checks a lot of the boxes, but that's just kind of a name you sort of found on your own.
Right? He had interviewed for
a couple of jobs last
Capitals
year.
job before Carberry got it,
but it's not something we've seen like is mentioned as someone the Hawks are talking to, and there's no list there. So if we're talking about the concept of a first time guy versus an experienced and established Jay Woodcroft, I think I want Jay Woodcroft for where the Hawks are right now. But again, show me the list of the first time guys you're talking to. Let me dig in a little bit on them and make the decision from there. It's kind of hard to do it like unknown guy completely, or this guy, Jay Woodcroft.
Right.
I need to know more.
Or like Dan Bilesma or like Dave Haxtell. Like, it's like they've been out there, they've done it, like they're getting other interviews and stuff, but it's just, you don't exactly know who is on the Blackhawks radar.
Of the 3 you just named, who appeals to you most?
Woodcroft, Bilesma, or Haxtell?
Yeah.
Woodcroft.
I tend to agree.
Yeah.
I think I've got Bilesma a close second, but I don't know. I just want it to get done.
I just want a list. Like, can we at least just have a list and then just narrow it down, so we're not just throwing out 60 names?
Even if it's a big list, like 10 names.
Yeah.
Fine. All right, I think we have one more mailbag?
I just want to know who made the list.
I mean, we have a bunch more, but I can just do one last fun one if you want.
Yeah, let's do a
How
fun
about
one
one
again.
last one?
King Tanner, what did you guys get your mother/wife for Mother's Day?
That's personal.
Oh, congratulations.
No, flowers, card, some nice earrings and a necklace, and just some good stuff. And
Nice.
from my mom, what did we get her? Cards, flower. Oh, a nice glass tumbler.
Okay.
Yeah, it's lemon themed. She likes the spring lemons, Italian lemon kind of stuff.
Sure.
So yeah, that kind of aesthetic.
Nice. You guys can have a lemon party. I got my mom a box of chocolates from Fannie Mae. She loves the Carmarsh. That's her favorite thing. And for my wife, we're going to see Ben Folds in the Chicago Symphony Orchestra.
Nice.
So I got tickets for that. So that'll be fun. Looking forward to that. Super chat from Daedric Lord. I hope I said that right. I would hire Gardner McDougall, Moncton Wildcats. That's just a great name.
That's a great name.
Gardner McDougall.
Yeah. Almost sounds fake.
Thank you for the super chat.
Again, put them on the long list. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, again, this is the reason we want some tangible things, because it's Mitch Love and all these names that are just thrown out there. It's just yeah, sure. That once the targets on the board were gone, Carl Sullivan, John Cooper. Once we found out he was extended quietly with the Lightning, it was just well, now it's open to interpretation. So again, I'm completely fine with a wide range of who they might interview. I just want to know who they've actually interviewed. Get Scott Powers and Frank Saravalli. Start doing some digging. Let's go. You're tapped in.
Do you know what Gardner McDougall looks like?
I don't.
He looks exactly like I thought he would look.
Top hat and monocle.
Silly mustache.
Yeah.
I was hoping that Gardner McDougall would have a Lanny McDonald mustache or a curled
Twirly.
twirly mustache.
Yeah.
We're pretty close. Katie's getting the image ready now. I know it's just very short notice here. Sorry, Katie. But she's pulling up
yeah.
a photo of Gardner McDougall.
That's Gardner McDougall for sure.
Now, if you are checking
That's
the
Ned
box
Flanders.
of Chicago coaches, he is Ned Flanders. Holy cow!
That's
You've got to have a mustache to
that
win
is
in
Ned
Chicago.
Flanders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good for
There
him.
you go. There's Gardner McDougall. He looks almost exactly as I thought he would.
That's great.
All right. We will be back tomorrow at 2:00, as we always are.
Exciting week ahead.
Exciting week ahead for sure. Remember, on the Thursday, we're supposed to get some sort of information about the Centennial. So that will be a big day. We'll have a lot to talk about then.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll fill the gap. Tomorrow it's you. Hopefully.
Oh, gosh. We didn't even talk about the Ice Hogs today.
We did not.
Oh, smokes.
Well, you know what? Their season's over, so we can do it tomorrow.
We promise we will wrap up the Ice Hogs tomorrow.
All right. Yes. Ice Hogs wrap up coming up.
Talked so much about high school graduation.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
We'll talk to you then, everybody. Thanks for being here. Hit the like button on your way out if you've not yet. And don't forget our sale stored at allcitynetwork.com. 30% off almost everything, up to 75% off sale items. Take advantage. It runs through this week. Talk to you tomorrow, too, on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.